I'm already letting you know, Trina. I'm not even blaming my dad.
To understand and know about body contour.
You cannot. That's how it was.
Because a pound could...
I felt that it was over. Now think about the anxiety they get when they're driving to
Something that I've done for my life, where trauma responses were getting a fan and there's no heart. What are you doing? My grandmother loved us because...
I have them moments with my son. Men to take probably and not community.
It wasn't cool to be African. You know what I mean? It was tough already, so it was just a constant battle.
Welcome to Honestly Speaking. I'm your host, Honestly Trina, and today with me I have an amazing individual. I first met him on Instagram when he was doing this £1 Million Home project, and I'm telling you, I was so inspired, so I followed him. Subsequently, I've been able to go onto his program, and it's been an amazing experience. With me today, I have Kazy, Property by Kazy.
How's it going? You alright?
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. That was a lovely intro.
Do you like it?
I like it.
I mean, it took some time.
It's very smooth, man. That was first take.
But yeah, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it because you said over a year ago that you'd come on. Interesting fact, guys. So Kazy, we spoke about it and I was like, oh no, I can't have you on my set because I had my old set then and I thought, no, he's too good to come onto my old set. And he's like, no, I'll just come down, like it's cool, it's fine. And I'm like, no, I need you to come on the new set. So you're here on the new set eventually, even though you technically
what season is this?
This is season 3.
This is season 3. This is what I'm saying. She kept me waiting, so hopefully I'm worth it.
It's worth the wait.
Yeah?
It's worth the wait.
Appreciate it.
So, Kazy, for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
So I'm from like Southeast London. Grew up around sort of Crystal Palace. Always live around there. Background wise, mum's English, dad's Nigerian.
Okay.
I don't think I look anything. I'm one of those people that looks like mad racially ambiguous. Yeah, that's like my go-to. Could be a lot of different things. But yeah, grew up in sort of Southeast London. What else is the follow-up say?
No, just
about me.
Yeah, a little bit about yourself.
So like I would class myself as a property investor and developer, and then as an offshoot of that, I now kind of help other people that want to sort of follow in those footsteps. So yeah, mentor, property educator, obviously a person of influence on the internet. I don't love the term.
You're a podcaster as well.
Podcaster, presenter, and model now. You know,
I think I saw
you haven't seen me, little Lylan Scott. You know, you might see me in Oxford Street. You know, you might see me in Oxford Street in the storefront. See you doing our bits.
And how did you manage to get into that?
So the modelling one, I have to big up my good pal Joe Bayer.
Okay.
Congratulations to him. He got married recently. He is now, I believe, like the kind of, I don't know his exact role, so I'm going to say it wrong, but he's high up in Lylan Scott. Like we grew up going to like Iron Appa in 2007, 2008.
You did Iron Appa?
Of course I did Iron Appa. I will be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, listen, there's a lot of that house sound. If you play it to the young gen, they're looking at you like, what's this? But that was going off. But I say that to say like at that point in time, Lylan Scott, like polo with the matching New Era, you're done.
The
like,
vibe.
you don't need any Rolex, you don't need any bust down, you're good
Just
to go.
fresh.
So I think they looked at that and thought they'd really over time transitioned and kind of lost the culture. So I think they wanted to get somebody on who had like a massive influence, and big up Joel for everything he's done between Cheeky Sport, between like, you know, his shows with Rio, between all of the stuff he does, an independent journalist, and they've got him on board, and then he was then positioned to get people like myself, people like Pound Sterling, various footballers, various music artists, various different influences across different genres. And he's really, I guess, getting it back into the culture, which is amazing.
I love that for you. So growing up in South London, early 90s, what was that experience like for you?
So I think I've always been a little bit oblivious to the world. Like, so everything is like, you know, whether you talk about what it's like growing up in the ends, but like, I guess if it's where you grew up, it's just normalized. You don't really think about it until you think about it in hindsight and think, oh, that was a bit mad, or that was a bit like, you know, ropey. But yeah, like I have to give a massive amount of credit to my parents, my mum and dad.
Were they together?
They were together, yeah. So they were together. My dad's a first generation migrant, so moved here in his, I want to say late teens, early 20s. Like, you know, And at that point in time, obviously, when he moved, very different. Like, you know, the Africans are more of the minority. The Caribbeans have been here for longer and settled. So he had to find his own way. Initially, when he came, he was studying at the same time as being a minicab driver, at the same time as like kind of hustling or like having like a market stall and whatever. And it's like, look, being a Nigerian, we're quite small stature.
Yeah.
Like having to do minicabs in Brixton's, competing with the established yardies, like it's no small feat.
No,
so
it's not. It's
he
not.
really showed like the character and persistence. And I think his work ethos, and over time became qualified as a solicitor, worked in like Chancery Lane, and went to go and set up his own firm. So I really saw the transition of, you know, us living in like a small flat in, you know, in Penge or Crystal Palace on the borders, to then probably at the age of like 12, 13, like we moved to Catford, but like to a house. Moved to Clockhouse Road in Beckenham and then to Catford. It's like a nicer house.
Yeah.
But again, it's like a lot of things that like the things that come with nicety. So like you've gone from this little flat to like a nice house, but actually now I've got to go on the bus. And for those that are from South London, going from having to go from sort of Penge side to going across the Blue Borough or like, you know, Lewisham isn't the easiest.
It's a bit of a culture shock for you.
It's not even a culture shock. It's just that like I've gone from just being local and growing up in my own area where we're just all kind of together as like together in whatever, as having to kind of be out of the ends, out
and
of the
navigate.
Area. Yeah, navigate, maneuver. It was interesting to say the least, because you're one person just having to go to a totally different area where they're not your people. But I think because that's not my world, I just kind of my focus was always, I guess, from what he'd done was always business. So like looking at it, my whole thing was always like, how can I make money? And I think that was always where I was kind of locked into.
And what was your relationship like with your dad at the time?
It's like, honestly speaking, like me and my dad, like at that age, we never had like a strained relationship, but we weren't close. And it was because he was like from a Nigerian African cultural background. He was doing the same. He was focused on working, focused on providing. So like, if I remember like my early life, like I don't really like remember seeing like my dad that much. Like obviously they were together, but like he was doing his thing. And yeah, I guess his focus was more just on the providing side as opposed to direct kind of contact a lot of the time.
Growing up in a mixed heritage house, how did that impact you?
I think I saw the stress it could put on both parties, because like my mum coming from like a white kind of typical English background, you know, it's just culturally very different. So they're used to having very smaller nuclear families where we do this together as a family and that's what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad's like, yo, like my brother's kids are coming over, they're coming to stay. This auntie's coming over for 4 months, like, you know, she's coming to stay. And I think I did see the pressure that like, particularly for my mum, whose family was down in Devon predominantly, maybe at points she did feel a little bit isolated.
Yeah.
But I think the importance of it is it's like, you know, even if there's strain, it's understanding how to work through things. And even if they couldn't always do it the way they wanted to do it at a point in time, I guess it's like lessons learned going forward.
Devon, so did you used to travel up there when you were younger?
Yeah, Devon. So for those that don't know Devon, it's all the way on the south coast.
It's lovely.
Like you're maybe gonna know, I guess, areas that you might have heard of, maybe because of football teams, would be like somewhere like Plymouth or Exeter. But they're from a little town called Teignmouth.
Okay.
And yeah, in terms of like summer holidays, particularly like, you know, when I'm in primary school, that was our summer holidays. Like my grandparents down there had an amazing house, like on the cliff overlooking the sea, spend the time on the beach. They got nice beaches.
Beautiful beaches, yeah.
A little 99 of a flake that actually costs 99p, not £3.70 now that they want in the park.
£5.50, you know.
£1 for sauce, another £1 for a flake.
It's ridiculous.
80p for sprinkles. You're mad.
They're gone too far.
They've gone mad. We're not ice cream, man. And I think what's funny is like, this is something that like, you know, sometimes you learn life lessons from the most random things. I remember being in like, I think it was like in the middle of, might have been like one of them big parks, like a Battersea Park or something like that, where you're far from everything.
Yeah.
And just going to the ice cream man and being like, well, let me get a Fanta. And he said £4. And I said, £4 for a can of Fanta, a can. And I'm saying, but that's good, because if you would have said £5, I might have swore at you. But for £4, I'm not walking to the shop. And that's the importance
all the way over
the
there.
value of something is based on the demand. For it and the supply or the lack thereof. And I think we've got to learn lessons, not just from business, not just from reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but learn things and use them and learn how you can implement them in all different everyday areas of your life.
Yeah. No, that's that supply and demand. I tell my kids about that all the time.
Yeah.
You talked about Devon. It reminds me of my childhood. So I used to go Devon for training.
Oh, for sure.
When I did athletics. So I used to go to a place called Woolacombe.
Yeah.
Beautiful beaches. And I never thought that these places existed.
Yeah.
Like growing up in Brixton and then going up to Devon and go in and do like mountain runs and stuff like that.
What was it like, obviously, as like a black girl going to do all of that? Like, was just the other people that looked like you? How were you received?
So I thank Mr. White. So Mr. White was my coach at the time. He was also my PE teacher from Charles Edward Brooke. Shout out them. They call something else now, but St. Gabriel's. But he made sure that we didn't feel like the only ones. I don't know what he did, but I never felt like I was the only ones. There were rare occasions when I looked around and I thought, but I had someone with me. So I had my friend Kareen. Shout out Kareen. But we went through that journey together. But as you know, Devon is not a culturally diverse place. So sometimes, like when we used to go like running in the morning, you could feel like 1 or 2 stairs. But because there was a group of us that were all from London, we didn't.
You just thought it was because we were running. It's because we're from London. You're not thinking it's because I'm black.
And there's loads of us here. Like there's like 20 girls running on the beach. So it's only when I look back at it, like not so much in somewhere like Devon, like when I went to Bolbec in France, I definitely felt like the only black in the village.
Yeah.
And it was hard sometimes, like just little things. If you forgot like your hair products, you're finished.
Do you know what it is? And that's why I say, like, even like from like, you see the age of like whether from a kid to like maybe going to secondary school.
Yeah.
Because my dad's just working.
Yeah.
My mum's just taking me to the barbers. I'm going to the Turkish barbers as a black boy. Like, you know, like little things like that. Like, and that's the things that come from obviously kind of like mixed heritage of not really understanding. But in terms of places like Devon, I think my friends will tell you, like, I'm just mad unaware of what's really going on. So someone could have been staring me in the face, looking at me like, "We doing it?" And I'd just be like, "I got some on my face, what's going on?" But the time I think I did realise it was when my mum got upset one time. Because I think somebody was like, just a lack of awareness. Like, I think someone was like, "Oh yeah, like, you know," like they just didn't understand how she could have black kids. They assumed that we was adopted, like me and my sister.
Are you for real?
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's maybe I'm a bit darker than they expect for a mixed race person or whatever it was, but and she proper got like up in her, like, no, this is wrong. And I think that was the time I was kind of like, yeah, this isn't like
it's not normal.
But yeah, like I have to say that it's not something that for me personally, I had a good time there. So I think like for those that can, like, I think the more you see more earlier on, the more you understand that there's more to life than your little postcode.
I say that all the time. I'm so grateful for the experiences. Like, so now I make sure like my kids, any sort of trips or anything, they're always going. I'm always taking them away to do different things, because I think especially when you grow up in the inner city, it's easy for you to believe that that's all that there is for you. But I won't go into other stuff and bore you about my 18 to 24-year-old journeys and stuff. So that's interesting. So you had quite a balanced upbringing then.
Yeah, I'd say it's balanced. I think, do you know what? You know, I say, like, we talk about, like, I was speaking to my friend about this the other day. He's like, yeah, but it's so bad now with the kids and the knives and the this and the that. And I'm saying, bro, it was the same. Like, it's like, it might be more like talked about and people see the videos because everyone's got a camera phone. But like, the same way it's normalized now that someone got stabbed or something happened or this happened or this happened to this person or this person unfortunately passed, it was like the same when we were growing up. But I think one thing that for me like really meant that like I could just mind my business is from 16, like I got my provisional, I've done my theory test. From the day I turned 17, I've already done my lessons, like I've done the driving. Don't know how I did it, but I've done the driving.
Can't do that now because my son is stressed out wanting to get it. He's got to wait till 17.
Listen, I'm in the car park doing the driving. I found a way. Chat to big cousin, said, listen, like, so from 17, my test is booked, I've done it. So the second that you've got that kind of independence where you don't have to get on a bus, you're not walking, you're not waiting to roll with everybody, and you end up maybe doing something you didn't really want to do just because you was with your friends. Like, so I think getting that independence and that self-sufficiency where you can decide to make good decisions is massively important.
What were some of your aspirations? What did you think your career was going to be in secondary school? When you had your options, what was you thinking I'm going to be?
So I never really thought about it. Like, like people say, oh, what did you want to be when you grew up? I just always thought, I don't know, like I want to be rich. Like, what does that like look like? But I didn't think, oh, I want to be a footballer. I want to be, because to be honest, I wasn't good enough. Like I never thought, oh, I'm good enough at this thing. See, my dad being a solicitor, I did kind of think, I'm good at arguing, like I could argue bears. Like I could be the barrister being like, but then when I've now gone and done A-levels and I did law and I got a U, I said, oof.
Unclassified.
But in my defense, I'm going to say it wasn't my fault.
Okay.
No, because firstly, my teacher left in the second week. I had a supply teacher for the whole year.
So this is the mitigation here.
No, so every year the supply teacher's coming and being like, open your book to page 7. Open your book to without even knowing what is. Every week is a different supply teacher.
Wow.
So I just lost like any engagement. And I think in hindsight, that was probably one of the best things that happened to me failing that subject. Because I learned early on that like that's not really for me. And now I see the level of detail that solicitors have to do on a daily basis with conveyancing, the amount of things they have to read, the amount they're responsible, the attention to detail they have to put in. I would have stunk at that job. Like, so maybe as a lesson or a little takeaway, being great at something is amazing. But sometimes failing fast is the second best thing you can do to learn that I can quickly move on, pivot and work out something I'm actually better at and more suited for.
Okay. So you finished school?
So I finished school. I went to, not sixth form, I went to college.
Okay.
Felt like I wanted like a little change. Went to college. College was cool. Like, just...
What did you study?
I studied law, economics, history, and business.
Okay.
Bit of a mixed bag there. Dropped law in my second year. Failed the rest of the stuff, so I had to go back and do a third year. And yes, I did that. I then went to university. And there's like a lot of stuff going on alongside this, but education-wise, went to university for 2 years.
What did you study?
Economics. Then I dropped out of university. And I always tell this story because this is probably one of the most like pivotal parts of like my journey personally. It's like, because we all start together, like, right, when we go to school, we all start in the same year, give or take. We all then go to college. Like, if you go to university, we all go there. But like, I failed a year of college, failed 2 years of university. For a lot of people that have like left school at 16, they've now got 5 years of work experience. They've earned money, they've got promotions. The people that are doing road or doing whatever they're doing, they're making good money doing whatever they're doing. The people that have gone to university are now getting their grad scheme role in Goldman and Sachs or whatever they're doing, and they're flying. And I was like, all my peers are like doing something and I've messed this up. And like, I've had a proper moment where I was like, I've mad failed. Like, I've just like, I don't like, I felt at like whatever age I was, like 21. I'm too old to start again. Like, and I think it's one of those things, particularly because of like the way, more so in black culture, like we put pressure on ourselves because the internet, everyone's got to have a watch from early, a chain from early, this designer, this, that, whatever, that we benchmark ourselves against like just the successful and not the average. And I felt like, by that feeling of failure and feeling like I'd mess things up, I think that's always what spurred me on over the next like decade and a half to be like, I'm never feeling like that again.
How did you pick yourself up from that?
So like I kind of had a conversation, like I kind of gone to my dad, like, like, oh, dad, like, don't really speak like, oh, dad, I've like messed this up. And he was kind of like, so what are you going to do? Like, there was no like, oh, don't worry, because it was like, you're a grown man now. Like, this is grown man problems. Like, so I think I looked at it and I was like, okay. And my thing always is like, when when I know something's gone wrong, whether it's in the property space and I've got some mad bad news from a property or a bank, or I've just had an issue, my coping mechanism is, you know what? I'm going to allow myself the day. I'm going to go to sleep. That's it. I'm going to go to sleep. Like old school, get like, whether it's like a detention or suspend, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to deal with this whenever I get woken up or I wake up. Like, but then after I've had my sleep, it's like, look, that's it. You've sulked, you've moaned, you've moped. But tomorrow's another day. Let's go again. Let's reset. Let's recalibrate. And I think around that time, like, is where I said, okay, you know what? I'd kind of started already, like, doing this shisha business, which was I'd been to like Egypt. I'd seen the shisha, like, and I'd be like, oh, this is cool. And they always say build a business around something you enjoy. So I'd spent my little, whatever it was, £500,000, bought some shisha pipes, bought a little bit of merch and
Let's rewind.
Yeah.
So you've gone to Egypt.
Yeah.
You like this idea. Where'd you get this 5,000 from?
No, this was like 500. I'm
500.
talking.
Okay.
No, 500, 1,000. But I was always good. Like
Did you have a job?
Yeah, like I worked from school.
Okay,
like,
what did you do?
At school.
You worked at Primark?
When it opened in Cred, and I was in Primark. Listen, I was in Primark. That's how I learned to fold stuff. I could never fold anything in my house, so I learned in Primark. I'm there now. Done, pack. Then it also, respectfully, at that age, before I understood about equality, made me dislike fat people, because I'm always doing the folding, but then I put the small on the top and the extra large at the bottom. They come and everything, I've got to fold it again. Used to be annoyed, but I understood that such is life. That was a learning curve. That was like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off, and fold again. So I learned. But yeah, I was in Primark from the age of like 15 to 17. From Primark, I left there and I went to Phones for You.
Phones for You. They went,
for You. Yeah. No, just in case anyone doubted where I was. So I was Phones for You. Phones for You was dope. Like, so I know we spoke off cam. Like, some people that have done, like, they've done some great stuff that have come out of Phones for You. One of my best friends now, Connell's doing amazing things in Dubai.
Yeah.
Jordan, Kif over in LA, smashing it. Manny, who's MS.
Oh, really?
Manny was there.
Events.
Gigi from Yaya Cakes. Like, loads of people that have done
definitely
and that's
had
just
some amazing
that's just
people
our
there.
shop. Like, I'm saying, beyond that, I can name like, one of the things about that place was you understood the importance of strategy.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, do you remember, like, your first job? Where did you work, or what
I
did you?
worked at Sainsbury's.
So see Sainsbury's, you kind of just, and not that I know, but like Primark, like, for example, you get the job and you just start the job kind of thing. Like,
No, we had like some intense 2-week training. Then we had to do an MVQ in customer service.
Oh, swear. But you see, like that, you learn a lot from
I learned a lot.
Phones for You, before you could start, you had to go to Birmingham, stay overnight for like, I can't remember how long it was, where they sit with you and like train you on how to build rapport, how to sell, how to upsell, how compliance, like, so that stuff that I learned in that business, like, I still use like day to day in terms of really understanding like what to do and how business works, because ultimately we're going to get into property and what that really looks like and how to be successful in property. But I think one of the most common mistakes people make is thinking that property is like different from any other business. Most of the time, it's really people and personnel led. And if you can build great relationships, the likelihood is you're going to be successful. So yeah, like, I'd always made money and was doing all right, like, you know, Phones for You and whatever.
It's interesting. I think like you saying that and now knowing what people do in terms of like inductions for work, they don't really do that much anymore.
Listen, it's a start.
You just start and you have to learn on the job. If you get a buddy, you might get a buddy. But back then there was a whole like induction process. I mean, when I recruit people, I do an induction process because that's what I learned.
Yeah, that's how you learn it. And same with me, like in my business, I've just like had like some of our older staff, like they've given notice for certain, or we're just expanding. And when we take people on, like, the handover period is always 6 weeks. So the person who's leaving has to train them for 6 weeks, like, proficiently. They have to create an entire like handover dossier with all of the different points, all of the bottlenecks, all the issues. And then I then sit in like once a week to be like, right, what have you learned? What are you struggling with? Ask them for feedback on the new person, because I'm more higher for that attitude as opposed to ability. So as long as they're still telling me, look, they're really like trying to get this done and they're going to find a way, because you want to build like a culture of your business. And like, I'm someone that loves a saying, and you know, like one bad apple can ruin a bunch.
The whole bunch.
Listen,
Yeah, it's very cancerous.
Had some bad apples, man. So.
Yeah, at one time they called me the Terminator because
You just gotta.
Yeah, I'm very people orientated.
Everyone. But listen, it's like, I'll work with you, I try and improve, but at a certain point, you just gotta know when to.
Yeah. But I do it in a way that you kind of know you need to leave. I might even help you job search. I'm that good. We'll move you on.
No, do you know what it is? I'm so patient until I'm done. And then when I'm done, it's respectfully.
So you had normal jobs?
Yeah. And I always think I think it's mad important to like have a normal job, because how are you going to be a boss if you've never had a boss? Because you've never really got to learn whether what you like or what you don't like, what they did well. I think like people like to downplay the 9 to 5, but you're getting paid to learn. So it's like, it's a very low risk strategy of self-development.
I learned so much from like my 9 to 5s. I learned how to be a better person. I learned like strategic thinking, solution focused mindset, like loads of stuff, growth mindset. I learned all of that just being in my workplace.
I didn't even learn stuff like, you know, I learned to hold my tongue. Like
I learned that.
I learned that. Like I learned how to respectfully tell someone to shut up, like as opposed to just shut up, man. Because you're the shut up now. You're the aggressive one. But like if you tell somebody like, you know, whilst your opinion's valid, we're not going to be proceeding in that way at present, comes across a lot better.
It does, and you don't get a grievance for it as well.
You know what I mean? So it's important.
Okay, so. You've done these jobs, you've taken a holiday, you've gone over to Egypt, you've seen the shisha bit, and you thought, I like this.
Yes, I like this. I thought like, you know, I'm a Muslim, so I don't drink. So like going out, it was like, something that's social that I can do with friends. And I was like, okay, cool. Like this is something that like I'm going to give more of a go. And we started out just like anyone, you just like, hope and a prayer, like being like, okay, cool, we're gonna go like to these clubs, like because at the time you got to look at opportunity. At the time, like the smoking ban had come in maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Smoking's an addiction. People that want to smoke are gonna smoke, so the clubs are gonna cater to that, creating like these nice outdoor smoking areas, terraces, etc. So what we did, we said, look, we're gonna come in. We can't afford to rent these areas at the moment. We don't have a track record. But what we can do is we can come in for free. So you don't pay us anything. We'll charge the consumer directly. We'll provide all the product. And then you've got a USP over other nightclubs that you've got shisha here for like the people like, you know, like, so you'll remember like, and then using also, the other thing is this, the people that are going to first do business with you are the people that know, like, and trust you already, people that you've got warm relationships with. So we didn't start approaching the nightclubs. We started approaching like the promoters, the people that we already know, that we go to their events. So like we were doing it like one of my cousins did, City Love. Remember City Love? Like City Love, like so City Love was a really established event at that point. So they were, you know, massive locations. They were the ones who, off the back of doing that, we now were able to get like a regular spot in like Proud 2, which was the biggest club, or is the biggest club the UK's like had as the biggest indoor club, with a massive like outdoor area, you know, on good nights it was really successful. But we only got into those locations off the back of using our existing network and doing maybe the smaller one where you're doing it for break even because you're doing their little pop-up that they're doing in Shoreditch that's only going to have, you know, 70 people. So I think it's kind of like a takeaway for people that are thinking about business. Like, yeah, the money's important, but like the longevity is more important, and building those relationships are probably going to be where the real value is. Yeah.
And how did that business go? How well was it?
So it's like, so we started out, again, it was like kind of baby steps of like starting at these different venues, to then actually starting to do the regular venues all the time. So I guess it's more like a kind of like residency. Then we started pitching to do like festivals. So like these are festivals, and like V-Fest or Virgin Music Festival at the time. And they were like dope because when we were doing them, like you have this USP of people can't go anywhere. So after the acts, like there's got nowhere else to go. So we were making like thousands of pounds a day at this point, like profit, which, was really good. And our overheads were minimal because, again, it's like work smarter. So if I can tell like 10 of my friends, like, yo, I got 10 passes with the 10 campsite in places, or we got 2 vans, you can sleep in the van, got the mattresses, just do whatever, but go watch the acts. But then in the evening, just come and give me a couple hours, do whatever. We kept the business really lean. Profit margins were probably at like 80%. So it went well. And then off the back of that, and off the back of also dropping out of like university, like took the leap to get like a fixed premise. I had our own kind of shisha lounge / bar in Elephant and Castle called the Buddha Lounge.
I've been to the Buddha Lounge.
Yeah, you would have come to the Buddha Lounge. Half a street was local. So yeah, that went well as well. I made good money there doing that.
So you've said a lot of things, and like I understand some of it. Yeah. So can we break down profit, loss, gross, net?
Yeah.
Can you break it down?
Yeah.
Explain what that is.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, profit. Let's actually not. Let's start at revenue, because revenue is a number. If that is how much money your business has turned over, how much money has come into your business. But there's a really like common phrase, which is like, where is it again? It's like revenue. Like, so anyway, I forget the phrase, but basically like revenue is the top level, is the money's come into your business. Yeah. Profit is the money you've made after all expenses. So i.e., I tell you, look, listen, I'm selling this water for £1. So your revenue from that is £1. But for example, I might say my allocated time for pouring the water is 20p. The water costs me another 20p. I've given it to you in a cup that cost me 5p. So my overheads for this water are 45p. So the profit on that is 55. So you've got your revenue, you've got your profit. But that's your gross profit, because your gross profit is your profit before tax. Now, assuming that you're a limited company, the corporation tax on that is going to be, what is it now, like 19 or 24%? I can't remember, depending on which bracket you're in, but one of the two. So your net profit will be the profits after tax. What else did you ask me about?
Profit, loss, gross, revenue. I think we covered them.
All good.
Yeah, thank you.
So that again, we had a business, that the shisha business, again, our revenue wasn't super. That's it. So it's like the revenue is vanity. Like people have said, I've got a business that turns over £1 million, but profit is value. That's really actually the money that you make after all the smoke and mirrors and all the things that look nice. Actually, what's left at the end of the day, and that's profit. What really matters. Because if somebody tells you, like, I'm going to pay you £10,000 a month, but actually you're going to be in a tax system in wherever, in 40%. Somewhere in Norway where you're in a 50% tax system after other costs, and you're actually going to make 5,000. The important money to you is the money that reaches your account, not what they say you earn on paper, right? And it's the same with owning a business. So yeah, that was cool. So did that. Whilst doing that, also went back to university. Okay. And I think an important takeaway for that was, at the point I went back, I was really ready to go to university. Every other time, I was just going there for vibes and because it was probably what you're supposed to, and didn't really have the direction. And I do think university, and I want to say this, I think it's important. I think whether university costs £1,000 a year, £3,000 a year, or £9,000 a year, there's so much value you get out of the learning that you get there, the contacts that you make if you go to a good university, and also the work ethos to do something that maybe is not necessarily paying you day one, but pays you through delayed gratification later down the line. But nobody's going to check you to be like, where are you? What are you doing? Why haven't you turned up? You have to be self-accountable. And actually, if you want to be an entrepreneur, going through the university process is probably one of the best things you can do, because you have to start to finish something when it matters to you. You have to be prepared for that delayed gratification. You're going to get the results off the back end, and the results aren't guaranteed. And you have to turn up even though nobody's pressing you. So I think as a process, it's really good from a work mindset, particularly if you're in a vocation where a degree is super important. Like if you want to get into coding, if you want to get into finance, like where there's more of a requirement. In other areas, maybe it's not as important.
So I've got a bit of a controversial take on university. I feel like you should take time out after college.
Mm.
Because I feel something about life and lived experience kind of gets you in the right space. Some people, they know. They know.
Some people know from early, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a therapist.
I want to be an architect. I know that this is what I want to do. But if you're slightly uncertain, I do think that lived experience can really guide you towards where you need to be, so that when you do go, you actually finish it because you know that this is something you're passionate about and you want to do.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's like, I wasn't ready to go when I went. And I didn't have that level of focus. Like, I was, don't get me wrong, I was always like, I was smart. Like, I used to do other people's work and not my own. Like, I could do, my friends would be like, I'll be playing Call of Duty, like, with a headset on. They'd be like, what do you think the Constitution? I'll be like, yeah, just write this and da. But when it came to my own, I didn't have the focus to sit there. And I think it just comes from timing. But also, one thing that even doing, like, this show with you today has reminded me is that I always tell people, like, I hate the idea of failure and it really scares me. But ironically, like, the failure has probably taught me some of the best lessons. So it's like a catch-22.
Yeah, I think my most impactful lessons have been from failure. I think when I've got things easy, I just take it for granted a little bit. And I didn't have much failure until I got into a certain sector of work. And then, like, it really built character for me. And I became more grateful as well.
I think it's just that balance, because you want to fail, but not too hard.
Not too.
Like, I want to fail, like, what? Like if
enough
there was
that I can get back up.
Diet failure, you know what I mean? Failure light. Not like, I don't want a full fat failure, smack you down. Like, I don't want to know about that one. I was aggressive.
Failure light, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you've done that. You did the shisha business. It was quite lucrative for you.
Yeah. No.
How did you transition into property? Was there anything before property that you did?
So I was doing the shisha business, and then to kind of, I guess, to contextualize it, like, we had something called a license to trade.
Right.
So a license to trade on a commercial premise basically acts very similar to like an AST, an assured short hold tenancy, in that, you know, once you're at a term, like, either party can just give notice, 2 months notice, 2 weeks notice. So if you're renting a property, you don't just go and do a refurb and a renovation because the landlord can just give you your notice, and then you got to give it back to them with all of that added value. It's the same with a license to trade on a commercial premise. So we had this property that had all this potential, and we're making good money, and it's like they had this big basement and we could have turned it into like maybe a club or something else, but the cost that we would have had to invest wouldn't have made sense because at any point in time we could have lost the premises. So I think that idea of not owning the asset, I was just like, in my head, I was like, whatever I do next, like, I've got to own, because I put a lot of effort collectively as a group, like, kind of blood, sweat and tears into the business. And it didn't necessarily have the longevity. And I guess the kind of natural progression of, how do you do ownership? It is property. So I'd kind of like been around other people that had been doing it, had kind of just been looking into it, didn't really have like a mentor, but had just been around like others, sites and other people's sites and doing things. My dad is a conveyancing solicitor, owned property before as well. So like, it was something I had a level of awareness to. But I think, I did just kind of fall out of love with the shisha, with obviously running a venue that sold alcohol, like a lot of drunk people, a lot of late nights. And I think as you're transitioning from doing late nights and I'm studying and trying to do early mornings and getting into property, it was like something has to give, because there's only so like thin you can spread yourself.
So there's so much in there.
I know, I talk mad fast. Like,
no,
not fast,
it's fine.
but I talk like all at once.
Yeah, so I wanted to pick it up before, but I diverted to something else. So you said you're Muslim. Is that like hereditary, like family, your father's side?
By birth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've mentioned it a few times, like, so is there a conflict sometimes with the things that you do?
Yeah, like, so I think, like, obviously all of us as like people, we want to be the best versions of ourselves, whether it's, if you're a Christian, you want to be the best Christian. If you're a Muslim, you want to be the best Muslim. Just as a man, you want to be the best, like, you know, man you can be. But I guess being the most pious, the best like version of yourself, it doesn't always like transact into the modern world. So it's like, I guess, like having a business around shisha, and it's like the biggest margins, you know, at the time, you know, outside the shisha was the alcohol, but it didn't really kind of sit right. Even now being in property, like I'm very open and honest that I use lending. In an ideal world, like, you know, we wouldn't, like Islamically, we wouldn't use interest.
Right.
But it's obviously like, you know, I guess trying to find a way to operate and be like the best version of yourself that you know that you can be. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So back to the property.
Yeah.
So you were in around property. Your dad's a conveyancing lawyer.
Yeah, conveyancing solicitor, which is, again, I tell people, hack, like use what you've got. It means that a legal pack to review might cost £500.
Dad can
I cost like, Dad, come on, I got you some Gold Coast, some Jollof, Chef Special. I'm saying, like, vibes.
Yeah. So you're in and around it, and you think, oh, I kind of like this.
Do you know what it is? It's like, you see when something just makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing, okay, this house at auction, obviously don't get me wrong, auction numbers we can speak about, but auction is like guide price. It's like old school eBay. Might start at 99p, doesn't mean you can buy that car for 99p. Yeah. But as a starting point, you go and see something, you can see the past sold, and you can see that house sold for, or that flat sold for £180,000. One on the road is selling for 270. Do a bit of research to be like, what else do I have to pay for? I've got maybe a cost of finance. Maybe I've got, you know, the builders will charge X amount, but you can see the margin in between. And that's when, if we go back to early on, I said, it's not different from any other business. Like if you want to tomorrow set up, like, you know, you want to set up somewhere selling sandwiches.
Yeah.
How much do I buy my bread for? How much do I buy my fillings for? How much am I maybe going to have to pay for electricity, to rent a shop? How much do I have to pay this person selling it? And how many of them can I sell and for how much? And is there a margin in between that's heavy enough to make sure that I can make the money that's going to make the business make sense?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same ethos as property. However, obviously, I guess the elephant in the room is you need a lot more money to do it starting out.
Yeah. I learned the hard way about that, actually. I didn't understand. So when I first baked, like I bake,
Just baking.
just baking. It was fun and I liked doing it. So if you said, oh, can I get a cake? Yeah, cool. How much is it? £20. I'm not knowing.
You're not doing the back end maths.
The back end maths. It's only at the the end. I'm like, hold on a second.
And then when your cupboard's empty, your bank's empty, but everyone's got a good cake.
Got a really good cake.
They've got a really good cake.
I'm not taking into consideration how much it costs for gold leaf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everything. Like there's no upsell. It's just a cake is a cake.
It's a cake.
A cake is a cake.
And now I'm like, hold on. So why am I down? Like, why have I actually spent more than I've
received? That's what comes from like basic business premises of actually like, so like if you do business studies, chances are you'll do stuff like, you know, cash flow forecasting, understanding like balance sheet appraisal, profit and loss. And all of these things, like, you know, it's easy for me to say I studied economics. I didn't work in the city, I didn't work in finance, but I can see so many ways like that I use my knowledge of Excel spreadsheets, understanding what if analysis, understanding variances, understanding, you know, things around like statistics that I use just on a daily because I've got these tools at my disposal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, very important. My son and my daughter, they're both studying economics. And I'm really happy because I did media. So,
but it's all like, do you know what it is? It's all relative because even I think to myself, like, you see some of the things like, say you did a bit of media, I might do a little bit of method acting. You see, if you want to do sales, like sometimes you got to get into characters. Like, so you just got to find how can you use what you have? You know, that thing of like, if you judge like a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life thinking it's an idiot. Like, you may be great, but you've just got to find your lane of where you operate best and then put that fish in water and all of a sudden it's looking at all the rest of it like, you lot idiots doing doggy paddle, blah, 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 half drowning.
Transferable skills, understanding what your skill is and then being able to transfer it into what you're doing. So, how did you buy your first property?
I mean...
And where was it?
First property was, I've never left London. I'm not like, not going, I'm not going to Wales, not going to Newport, not going to Shrewsbury or Barnsley or wherever else. Everyone, like all the people advise you go outside and say, listen, if you can, obviously only if you can. Yeah. But buy the worst little flat on the corner of the road above a commercial premise if you want. Mine was fortunately was in Sydenham. So SE26, Mayor Road. It was an ex-housing association property that I bought auction. Had some interesting neighbours.
How much was it?
do you know what? I've said this so many times on the podcast. One time I need to fact check it. It's somewhere between 200 and 210,000.
All right.
I want to say like 207-ish, something like that.
What capital did you have?
So I had around 80,000 from
85.
the bar. So 80,000 cash, obviously in the bank, but cash. Cash money is it. Yeah, the cash.
Yeah.
So I had 80,000. And realistically, like, so at the time, I used a bridging loan, which means a 25, call it 30% deposit, because you've got to pay. So with, I don't know, do you know about bridging loans?
Yes, I do.
So a bridging
High interest
loan,
rates.
yeah, so bridging loans.
I sat on your stuff, you know.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. So you know, I'm just checking. I'm just doubling. When I say I'm saying you could say no. It's the guests.
Yeah, it's for them.
For them, it's for them.
You guys need to know, because I've been on his course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the bridging loans, generally speaking, bridging loans interest rate is anywhere between like 0.8 to 1% a month, whereas a typical mortgage in the current market, if you're looking at a residential mortgage, you're looking at 3.5 to 4.5%. So the cost of that finance is a lot more expensive, but they are a short-term loan that you need to have an exit for. So either you need to buy the property and then be able to refinance it, which means basically paying off the loan and getting a long-term loan, whether it's residential or a buy-to-let mortgage, or you need to sell that property on. But you need to have a predetermined exit, generally in around sort of 12 months. Some do offer up to 24 months. So I took a bridging loan, which is a 70%, it was a 70% net loan.
All right.
Yeah.
I want to go back a bit.
Yeah.
What was your credit like?
Do you know what? So because at that point in time, I didn't have a job, I was self-employed. And if you go and see, big up Uncle E-Man, Bricks, all the people like First Time Buyers Club, they'll chat to you, and if it's like a mortgage broker or a lender, like, if you'll be like, oh, I want to go and buy a property, I'm kind of self-employed, I've been doing it for a year, or I just quit my job, to go, look at you, like, why are you doing that? Like, that's not the prep. So my credit wasn't bad, but my credit wasn't good. It was more just non-existent. Like, I didn't really have anything.
So it wasn't
money.
adverse?
Nah, because I've always been, I think there was a couple little, I might have had an argument with E over something over a holiday.
They're the worst, you know.
But do you know what it is? We see what it is. You know what kills our people? For the principle of it. Like, we'll say, I'm not paying a £30 phone bill over the principle.
You'll get CCJ.
And then the CCJ, the cost of the CCJ costs more than the £30. The legal fees cost more than the £30. The impact on your credit over the long term.
6 years.
You're done. So it's like, sometimes it's like, the fool is the person who makes a bad decision that affects them more than the other party. Not always the person who has to bow down even though they're in the right. Because you can be in the right and still be in the wrong. Like, so I think like the principle can sometimes be the downfall of the black man or woman. So just be careful of that. But yeah, my credit wasn't great. Like, it didn't stink, but like it wasn't the best. Like, I'd probably had periods like where like I just mad in my overdraft or whatever I was doing, and just not really just that worried about it. But the interesting thing about a bridging loan is your credit doesn't really matter. You can get a bridging loan with a CCJ. Like, it's all about the asset. The asset is more important. And the rate is going to be higher, by the way. But you can get a bridging loan with bad credit.
And what about the equity that you're putting in, like in terms of the capital as well? That makes your chances...
Yeah, so basically how they're going to look at it is, you want to buy this property, you are going to put in a 30% deposit. The great thing about property is really, even if you mess it up, even if you go and rip it all out and make it terrible, it was already terrible when I was buying it. So if I make it more terrible, it's like, okay, so what? If I mess up, they've got my 30% already, which is on a £200,000 property is around £60,000. If you mess it up, we'll sell it for 140, get our money back, and that's your problem. So they're looking at is, does the assets provide the security as opposed to the individual? When you're getting a residential mortgage, it's all based on, okay, how affordable are you as the borrower? When you're looking at a buy-to-let mortgage, it's as well, does it cash flow? Does the income from the rental cover the cost? Obviously, they're still going to take their relevant deposits, but it's slightly differently weighted. It's more about your credit as well and your experience. So yeah, they were okay.
How did you find the property? Where did you go?
Auction.
We're walking people around.
Yeah, so for sure. So like in terms of looking for properties, and I'll kind of talk about it not just like as finding a good deal property as opposed to necessarily like what I was doing, but like, so generally speaking, like the majority of properties are found on the open market. So that's your online portals, Zoopla, Rightmove predominantly, maybe a little bit of on the market, but they're the sort of big three, but Rightmove's the big one by far. You've then got auctions. So that's where I found this one. So auctions, like you have, let's say, for example, a house gets repossessed and it's with the receivers. If maybe somebody's just got a duress sale and they've got to sell really quickly.
Probate.
If you've got probate, big housing associations, government bodies as well. Like if they can't find, you know, the next of kin for something, eventually it goes back to the state and then gets sold at auction. So there's a lot of properties. And then generally speaking, because of auctions, like once that gavel goes down, the hammer goes down, you have to exchange. Like you pay your 10% that day.
Yeah.
So you can't pull out. So there's less people that are able to do that. So generally you can get things for a more competitive price point. You've then got deal sources. So deal sources are people that basically actively go out there and look for deals on your behalf and you pay them a fee. So I guess the sort of most easy way to understand that would like the idea of kind of like concierge shoppers, like people that go out and buy on behalf of you and you pay an uplift for them going to source it on your behalf. And then you've got direct to vendor. So direct to vendor is when you actually actively go out to canvas to find people that want to sell. So it could be as simple as like doing like a letter distribution, like leafleting, but also like now in, you know, more astute people would maybe do it through meta, like retargeting ads, like Facebook ads or, you know, Google and SEO stuff to find people that maybe fit your criteria for the type of properties that you're looking for. But that's more complex. Like generally speaking, most people are looking, you know, kind of open market and then maybe auction.
So you found this property on the through the auction. You've got the bridging loan and you've gone ahead.
So I found it. I've had to obviously, so in terms of your steps, if you are looking to buy at auction, your steps to this, like obviously first, firstly I'd say, look, go and speak to a lender, find out how much, or go and speak to a broker, find out how much you can actually borrow. Because until you know how much you can borrow, you don't know how much you can go to look for.
Exactly.
So find out how much you can borrow. Once you've done that, make sure you get all of your like proof of funds signed off. So obviously my funds they're not like directly have come from a sale or a house or inheritance, have come from a business. So you've got to make sure your solicitor is happy with your proof of funds. So that would be called your AML, like your anti-money laundering and your KYC checks, know your clients that your solicitors do, they would do on behalf of your lender, which means your lender would be happy to lend to you. So first you obviously make sure you work out how you can borrow. Then you do kind of like your checks with your solicitor to make sure they're happy with your funds. Once you are, you then look for the property. Once you found the property, if it's an auction, I'd recommend you do something called like a pre-legal pack review. So they review all of the legals and all of the terms and conditions of this purchase and make sure there's no sort of nasty stuff in there that's gonna obviously like have a real adverse effect on buying the property itself. If it's open market, then you just instruct a conveyance and solicitor when your offer's been accepted. So that was it. And I found this property and it was local to me. So I was like, look, I can get there, it's easy. That's always a win. Because it was local to me, I also knew the area really well. And it's like the value of knowing your local area means that you know which is a good road and which is a bad road. You know which road is in the right catchment area for the right school, which road is actually a cut-through road and there's going to be loads of people in and out. If it's like opposite a park, which is like the good side of the park that's got the playground and the lake, and which is the bad side where all the junkies and the this and the that chill out, and you're going to have like glass bottles outside your house every day. So understanding the local area means what you are able to do is really like kind of like manipulate the market a little bit, because if you have the more information you have, the more you can act with confidence. So I knew that, you know, I didn't get the house for super cheap. Like it's probably like the top end of my max bids that it went for. But I knew that, you know, this is a good road. And I think the good thing about property is you can have like a plan A, B, and C. So like in this one, like the kind of worst case scenario was, look, like we bought a flat for like 210, call it. Stamp duty at that point in time was lower, so maybe like 5k worth of stamp duty or something like that. And in worst case scenarios, we're just going to straightforward renovate it,
put it back out,
and put it back out to market. But what I wanted to do was move the kitchen into the living room to create an open plan kitchen living room and use that kitchen as now like your second bedroom. So to create like
You're good at doing that stuff.
That's my go-to. That's like, and funnily enough, like, look, since then, like, since doing that, like, I've done, like, I don't know how many projects, but like, you know, tens of millions worth of developments. Like, I don't know if it's, I've personally maybe done 50 plus projects and then guided people on like hundreds of them. But my first project was a 1 to 2 bedroom conversion. The most recent project I did was a 1 to 2 bed. Now, in between that time, I've done new builds, luxury homes, like flats, commercial to residential, so many different things, like rent to rent. But that strategy is an evergreen strategy because you're not relying on the market just doing well. You're increasing the value. You're creating the value yourself.
How much added value is it when you add another room, another bedroom?
I'd say in like, you know, I have to speak about the areas that I know. So London, like you're normally from like a 1 bed to a 2 bed, you're normally looking at like around like a 25% uplift in terms of the value, give or take, like anywhere from sort of 20 to 30. And it's interesting because like a lot of people go off like, you know, if you go in like to the big agents and like people talk about, everyone talks about price per square foot.
Yeah.
But there is also an argument that it's not just price per square foot led, it's how efficient is that space being used. Because if the current layout is living room at the front, followed by like, you know, the bedroom, followed by a kitchen, you go through the kitchen and go to the bathroom, and there's loads of big corridor in that space and it's not being used really well, versus you go living room, so you change the living room into a bedroom, put the bathroom in between the two because you don't need a window for a bathroom. You then have another bedroom where it is, and then that whole rear of the property, you get rid of all those corridors, you open out it and create a big open plan kitchen living room. Now you've got a much more desirable luxury space. You haven't actually created any more space, but your price per square foot shoots up because you've just created a more desirable product.
And again, that's about knowing your market and knowing the needs. I do find sometimes when I go and look at these new builds, some of these developers, they're not thinking about how people live or move around in the space. And I think something that you do is you actually think about how is someone going to live here? Yeah, how is, because that's it. Like there's loads of competition now. We're in a market that's not doing as well as it once was. You have to be at the top of your game. Like the product that you put out has to be like top tier, but also you have to have in your mind, who's going to live in this property? If I think it's going to be like a young family, then I'm probably going to have to sacrifice maybe the second bedroom, make it a little bit smaller, but make sure the bathroom's got a bath in it because they're going to have kids, they're going to want to bath the kids. Versus if I think, oh, do you know what? This is the type of property that is likely to go to maybe 2 sharers or a young couple, then I might say, let me do 2 even sized rooms because they might want to rent out the second room. To obviously help with the mortgage payments, or like a brother and sister might buy it together. But I'll do 2 rooms with like a shower room, like you know, the main shower room or family bathroom, and then back onto that and do like a small ensuite. So now you've got 2 bed, 2 bath. We're sharing, that's a lot more desirable. Like no one's bothering each other, everyone's got their own space. Then you just got the open plan kitchen, which is your communal space. So I think thinking about that, thinking about the design, what it's going to look like, what the color scheme's going to look like, how all of the second fix stuff is going to work with what you're doing is what can really set you apart from, you know, people that are just kind of doing the typical standard refurb I was doing 10 years ago and just hoping it sells. So back to this first property again. So you've changed it from a 1 to a 2 bed. What were some of the pitfalls, or did you experience any kind of things that were surprising for you as your first build? What? I'm thinking I shouldn't. If I didn't name the road, I could have told you some of them because I've named the road. Let's think about something else. No, because when you said that now, you got to do a smooth edit. No, all right, so do you know where it is, hope she's okay. But like one of the people downstairs was definitely on a lot of substances. Okay. Like, so it was just like, I've just done this nice refurb. She's got no window in the front of her house. Like she just got a cardboard. And I'm saying like, you know, like I'm about to go to market like, with this nice new flat, but you've got cardboard and no front window. The aesthetic, that first appearance, then having to say, listen, like, I'm going to do your window for you because you've whatever. But then even randomly, I don't know what's happened. Maybe she's had a bad day. She shout, hey, you've got to stop work. I'm like, because you're just at home doing nothing. So like the neighbor, and I think that really taught me about stakeholder management and relations and whatever. My builders that I use, then again, I'm on like my arse at the end of it on budget. Like, so
I'm kind of calling in favors. I'm using like the cheapest of builders, like to a degree, just to get the project done. Had the plumber fall off the ladder. He decided to balance the ladder on one of them white plastic garden chairs and broke his arm. Like, you know, and it's just like, then he can't finish the job, but I've paid him.
And now you got to find someone else.
You got to find someone. So it's like, all these things, like again, they're learning curves that you have to learn. That you learn that cheapest isn't always best. You learn that, you know, if you pay cheap, you probably pay twice. You learn that you can't just ignore your neighbors and your stakeholders, because the same person that you're looking at, that you're just a bit like, you're just kind of on the whatever, they also know the system inside and out, and will be the first person that knows how to go to the council and get your site shut down, because they don't have anything else to do. So I think understanding that stakeholder management, understanding like the importance of personnel. This is the one that I can tell you about, learning curves, understanding not to over personalize your project. So like one of the biggest mistakes like early property developers make is they over personalize and do what they would do because it's your first project and you're so excited.
Just want to do everything.
So like again, I feel like a lot of my stories end up from me coming back from holiday. But at this point in time, I just come back from Dubai. And I've been in Dubai and they've got like the bath, and the bath, it's got the mirror, and the mirror, it's got a TV behind it, and you've got the remote in the bath. So I'm saying, yeah, gone on Amazon. I've got my mirror with the TV behind in the bathroom, but it's a flat in Sydenham for like not the most amount of money. And it weren't bad. But I remember the agent said like they had a woman that wanted to view, and she was like, but that tea, like obviously in her head, I've probably spent thousands of pounds on it. I did it on the cheap, but she just wasted so much money on the things they've done. She didn't end up offering this because I made it too personal. So hindsight was like, look, don't go super bland. Don't be scared to use a bit of flair and creativity and some ja. But also like leave something for the next person.
So they can customize it and make it theirs.
And make it their own.
Yeah, that's very, very important. And it goes across so many different things. I used to be everything was my baby. If I had any involvement in it, this is my child and I need to have it like this and I don't want you to change it. And no, you just need to know that you're creating it for this time and you're going to move it on, birth it into the world, you know?
Definitely.
So cool. You sold that first property?
Yes, I sold that first property. Again, what I sold it for, I think this is accurate. I think I sold it for £309,000. So after everything, after like, if I bought it for like, again, call it 210 to round up a little bit to include the legals. Bought it for 210. Refurb was on a shoestring budget. I think I spent like 25,000. It was kind of like, I think the kitchen was like an ex-display kitchen from somewhere. The tiles were like, you know, end of line. So the last ones, if I needed one more tile, I would have had to make it myself. The builders that I used were like super cheap, and I was the dog's body as well. Like you want materials. And I did all of this, by the way, in my Honda Civic. Like, oh, you want sand and cement? I'll be there in the Honda. You want a bath? I'll be there in the Honda. Fridge freezer there in, it needs to go up the stairs. I'll tie it to my back with the bungee tie. Like, I'm trying to save as much money as possible, because not even because I wanted to make the money, because the money didn't exist once it ran out. So again, so 25k on a refurb. Maybe, like I said, a bit of stamp duty for it, like whatever it is, like 440 odd. Some other like expenses, didn't really need like too much legals. Cost of finance, probably, again, the finance cost, again, because my credit wasn't amazing, probably maybe would have cost me like 30k. So I'm all in at like, maybe a bit less, but I'm just rounding up, because if I say it low, what happens in the comments, they're kind of, I didn't cost that much, I've done the numbers. So I round up to be, I know what you're doing already. So probably like net after the agency fees, because the agents charge about 1.5%, probably made like, you know, sort of 30 to 40,000 pounds like off that one. And it wasn't like that money, because I've already made money from the shisha lounge. I understand money, like I've had money, I've had, you know what I mean, it's not new to money at this point, but what it was maybe that was the first point in time, number one, where I was a six-figure-naire. You know what I mean? A six-figure-naire. I seen the extra zero. I said, yeah, all right. But also it's like, okay, it was like, that's my proof of concept that this works. Like, so it wasn't that, oh yeah, I'm rich now, but it was like, this works. In my head, I was thinking, I'll just do one of these a year and relax.
Just
like,
chill.
I just gotta chill. It wasn't like, oh, I'm now gonna be a property mogul and I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z.
Let's talk about the tax now, the implication. So people think you go out, do all this amazing stuff, and you've got your net.
Yeah. That's why, that's why I like Monzo and these new banks where you can set a thing up, like the second the money comes in, put it over there. Don't even let me see it. Put it over there, man. Put it past this camera, like make it out of shot. I don't even want to be able to see it and know about it. So when I run a business that we're over the VA free threshold and we do the VAT, like get paid VAT out. Like, so when the accountant is now saying, oh, your VAT bill for this quarter is
I'll take it from there.
30,000, I'll be like, let me take it from that pot that wasn't even mine.
Yeah.
Versus if it's in the mains, all of a sudden. Now
you're searching.
Yeah. So
what does tax look like at that level?
So tax there, because I own that property in a limited company, so I'm paying tax at I think it was 20% at that point. So a corporation tax effectively. Now, obviously, you pay your tax on your profits. You don't pay, if you get £300,000 come in, or 310,000, you don't pay tax on the 300.
You pay it on the net.
You pay it on the net that you make. So that's after all your expenses, after everything that's tax deductible. So that would be your cost of finance, your accounting fees, your architectural fees, your solicitor fees, your builder's costs, your labour costs, etc. And everything else.
Petrol
you pay the tax.
meetings.
Well, you can't even do the petrol. You got to do the mileage calculator to allocate the petrol and all these things that that you learn over time. But it wasn't so much about the money, but you do have to make sure you prepare for tax. When you look at some of the richest people in America, the reason they've gone bankrupt
or gone to prison.
When you look at Wesley Snipes, you look at Dame Dash, you look at some of the people that have done things that are fantastic and they've fell foul to tax. So it's one of those things that you have to. It's unfortunate, but I say, for a lot of people that complain about tax, I say, tax is just a way of, obviously tax is the system. Tax is a way of making sure that, you stay in the game and you play. But realistically, would you rather 100% of or 100% of nothing or 80% of something? And it's the tax is rubbish. No one wants to pay the tax. But the reality is, I don't mind paying the tax because it meant that other, so mentally in my head, I try and reverse engineer the feeling. When I get that £27,000 VAT bill, I say, okay, that means I've made X, rather than that means I've just had to expense X.
But I like what you said. So that's what I do. So when I get money in, I don't see it. That's how I work with money generally. It comes in, it goes out, and what's left is mine.
They say if you. Obviously, whether it's tax, whether it's saving, let's say, for example, you're self-employed and you're saving to buy your first home. If you tell yourself, I'm saving £1,000 a month, and you make £3,000, so take your saving money, pay your bills, that means you can spend carefree after that, because that's your play money. Whereas if you just leave it all in one place, it just gets very messy.
It's messy. Several different accounts, the money goes in, it divides out, and cool. So there's a lot of gems in there. So rewind it back if you need to catch some more of the gems. So that was your first property wrapped up and you did that. Let's talk about the one that went viral.
Oh, that one,
Yeah. What happened with that? How did it go viral? And what did that feel like for you? What?
That was
it was everywhere.
This is mad funny as well. I feel like every story is I'm in Dubai. Every story hearts with a holiday, but I like to travel. That was my go-to.
That's the first time I spoke to you. In Dubai.
I remember being in Dubai and when you pick up your phone and my phone, I knew it was on charge. It was on 80%.
Yeah.
It's on 4. It's gone down and your phone's just going off. And I think obviously people would kind of the pros did well because it was this 1930s house that was transformed. And to be honest with you, it was nice, but it wasn't the most tasteful in terms of it was really sleek, modern. A lot of people really love character, so it kind of did divide opinion in some places, which is always good. It gets people talking. But whether it's between in our culture, your Shea Burrows or your UK gossips and they're reposting it, whether it's the Architectural Digest and all these people with some accounts have millions of followers, but they're reposting it and tagging me, so you're getting the feedback from them. So it's I think the account of that for that little period, for maybe a couple of days, was growing by 5,000 people a day.
Wow!
For just this period of maybe 4 or 5 days.
You had to turn your notifications off because that was just...
Yeah. So it was just. But it wasn't. Do you know one thing I say? People always in there, it's dark. It's a dark place. and I'm not saying like I'm not Mother Teresa or anybody like, you know, but because like I'm quite boring, like I don't get the, like I'm like, when I'm going viral, it's just for a house.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this house, like, you know, people say, oh, we don't really like the house. It's a bit boring. I'm like, all right, it's not my house. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's the numbers made sense. Like, you know what I mean? It's for the numbers. So, yeah, I think like that was okay. But I was just kind of like, all right, that's something new. I probably care a lot more about like the slow growth and all of the different people that like, whether it's yourself or other people that like, you know, I've been speaking to over the last 5 years, and then I get a message being like, yo, by the way, like I just got my house and X really helped me, or I just did this, or, oh, you know that, you know, thing that I was trying to do with my right to buy has finally gone through. So I guess the slow burners and the actual engagement of being able to kind of like move the needle like in our community and the wider sphere is probably what I'd value a lot more.
For me, like, you know, my personal little story, it was good to get into that community. It wasn't the best time for me because I'm a bit of a I need to hold on to my money person.
I told you, I know you already. See, you're a Duckman Scrooge. Just want to have a big vote and dive into your money, just swim in it. Like, you know, you don't care about the value, you don't care about inflation. You just want to swim in the notes.
But what I liked about you, because there were other people in that time, they're still around. Yeah. What I liked about you is that you're actually an honest person, and I didn't feel like you're trying to take my money. You were very honest, and you gave various options, and you were very supportive in your approach and not pushy. Yeah. There's some individuals that are very pushy, and you feel like they're literally trying to prise your fingers open to
I always tell people, like, I'm all right at a lot of things. I'm bad at sales, like, because I'm just like, look, this is it. Like, even when people are like, oh, I want to join a community, I'm like, cool. Like, jump on a call, this is what it is. Like, oh, so what's next? I'm like, you've got the link, you have a join or you don't. Like, I'm not going to run you down to be like, it has to make sense for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's got to be something that you really want to do.
And so I'll say this, like, the Property by Kazy community is really, really good. There's so much experts in that space. There's builders. There's so much, like, tells you where to go to find stuff.
Look, like, you know, should I tell you a great example?
Go on.
I bought a flat in Maidavale, West London. From a housing association, 1 to 2 bed. Since then, we've had 3 more people buy flats basically on that same road at the end of the road, to the point that from one, you can see all the others. So that's like, what, 1.5 million spent between like the 4 of us. It means that the values at the end of that are going to be 3 million. But the example is, I've done something. I'm not then saying, oh no, these are all mine. I'm saying, look, this other one's coming up. You get it, you get it, you get it. So everyone's building and learning together. But then we can also leverage from economies of scale and being like, okay, let's all use the same builder. Let's get like, but then I have like, for example, people that supply kitchens, people that supplies quartz, like, and granite worktops, people that supply windows. And because we now have buying power as a community, we're replicating some of the things that other communities have done so well over the years. So I just think like, there's so much money out there to make that like, the more we do and the louder our voice can be is the more that we can actually start to have more of an impact on the markets we want to operate in.
And what else is good about it? It doesn't matter what stage you're at. So you could come in and not know nothing.
Yeah, the early doors.
Like, not know anything. And it's nice to see people's progression through it. Like, I was just sitting back listening. Like, I'm listening to everything. I'm tuned in, I'm listening. And I know, like, I've got more knowledge from just being on there. And once I'm out of my Scrooge McDuck space, like,
not because
I'm gonna
come back. Yeah, but it's like each one teach one. Because, for example, you may have been there, but because you spent a little time picking stuff up, it's like tears. Someone might be a lot more comfortable saying that, yo, James, like, you know, we keep saying GDV. What does that mean? Because they know that you're not flying, but you've been there enough that they can just come and talk to you. And vice versa. Like, I get people in there that have been doing it for 20 years, but feel like they're a bit disconnected from the market. I get people in there that are 19 and want to buy their first property because they've done the right thing.
I love them though, you know, like, they're just so kind of like carefree, and like, even when they come in and they show their properties and stuff, I love it. Like, there's so much different layers. There's people that have like seasoned.
There's people. I got people that like, they're buying 10 properties this year. Got people doing new build schemes, people that have just built like £5 million worth of property in Brixton. Then you've got people that are saying like, yo, I'm just trying to do something, or I'm just trying to learn right now. I'm not even ready to buy, but what I want to do is set myself up, I guess, to use the property example, to build my foundation. So when I'm ready, I've got stable ground to build on.
And that's me. I'm that person.
No, you're in the basement with all the notes, swimming.
But yeah, if you haven't, do check out. There's probably a waiting list. There's probably a waiting list.
You can go, but like how we've done it now, because we've changed it, like where we want to work with people over the course of a year at a minimum. So you go to pbkcommunity.co.uk. There'll be like a little video so you can understand more to make sure if it's right for you. And if you do want to do it, you book a call. We have a call with myself or one of my team. We go over things, and if it is right for you, we'll give you the opportunity to join.
Yeah, and there's other opportunities, like if you're investors or anything like that and you want to invest in things.
No, like, listen, like I said, like, when people say, oh, like, what are you doing? I spoke to you this long ago, and I'm always like, oh, yeah, cool, like, come back, like, we'll work and we'll do some business, because the reality is, like, you know, inflation is nobody's friend. If you're sitting there with 100, 200K in your bank and it's not doing anything for you, like, obviously all investments carry risk, but unlike, you know, crypto and maybe some other things, we can extrapolate a lot safer, like where you can be, you know, 12 months from now. And even if you're like at a point where like I want to do my own projects, but actually why don't I kind of act as like an angel investor in one of yours and do some like kind of like earn as I learn stuff along the side, so you get one foot in the door, you get a little bit of an understanding, so you're more confident when it comes to doing your own projects.
What I liked about you, I think I reached out and I sent you all these videos and all this stuff, and then we started talking about the finance and stuff of it, and it was like, no, that don't make no sense. Sense. It was like, it looks like there's wood rot in here and this, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I would have just been blinded and just gone on and found out that I'm losing everything because...
Yeah, no, it's scary, man. Look, I see people, and unfortunately people do lose money, even people with good advice and people that have like parents that have bought property around them, because it's like, there's just so many moving parts that like it's just so important to have the right people around you. And sometimes the best news you can get is some bad news of someone saying, I don't think that deal's good. Like I wouldn't do it if I was you.
No, you saved me.
Yeah.
You literally, because that would, I would be swimming anyway.
I speak to so many people, like I don't even remember, like I promise you, you could be making this up right now. I don't even remember, like I speak to so many people about this.
Honestly, it's the craziest thing. I saw this property and like me and the kids would always drive past it in Banstead, and it just looked broken down. I knew that no one don't care for this house. No one's got this house. And then one day it came on the market, and I remember I called Lisa. I was like, Lisa, I want to go see this property, blah, blah, blah. So I went and saw it, and I was like, she's like, right, do you think you could do it? I'm like, yeah, man, I did the house in Battersea. I can do this. Like, I really like believe I can do stuff. Yeah. And then I thought, now maybe this might be like that the floor was missing and stuff like that. I said, no, you know, let me just message Kazy. And like, I messaged you and you was in Dubai and you called me, and I remember sending you all these like videos and that. I did a lot, like, and you randomly had time for me as well.
That's my thing. It's like, you know, you can catch on at the right time.
Yeah, you randomly had time, and we kind of went through it, and I told you my circumstances and everything, and he was like, no, I'm not sure if that's it. And then you understood where I was. You knew that I weren't trying to spend my whole life savings to go and lose it. Yeah, like, and you could sense that, and I really appreciated that. Whereas other individuals that I spoke to,
it looks good on the internet to have someone go, new house with the key picture.
But yeah, other individuals made me feel like I need to spend, whereas you were like, no, it's cool, like take your time. I'm here if you ever need anything. And I really respected that, because I'm very much on energy as well. And then we talked about cakes and other different stuff. Anyway, I digress. What has been your most favourite or most personal projects that you liked? I know you named one of the projects after a family member.
Yeah, so that's probably, in terms of like personal and most meaningful, I think that's nice. So did a block of like 9 flats in Forest Hill, and then a block of 4 flats in Croydon, and then named Khadija Walk and Khadija House after my late grandmother. So I think, like I always say, like the example of being able to like, actually like immortalize someone that you care about. Like I can be long gone, like dead and buried, and that's still going to be the name. So I think like beyond the monetary returns is actually being able to do things of meaning. I think in terms of like most It's really random, but it's this one I did out in Epsom, like really near that like viral house. It was just this little not bungalow, it was like a cottage that I bought for like 200k at auction, run down, had like a, the pink bath and like I think carpet in the bathroom and all these things, but like it looked like a haunted house.
Yeah.
But because I just finished doing like a really luxury one, I kind of still, within reason, used a lot of like the same like quality of like material, workmanship and what have you. So I ended up being from a 2-bed, did a rear extension, ended up being like a 3-bedroom, like with a 4-piece like master bathroom suite, glass balustrades on the stairs, like at the time, like the media wall with everything, bifold doors. And I think we sold it again for like 450,000, something like that, which in the grand scheme of things for a 3-bedroom house is relatively cheap. And I remember getting a message on Instagram from one of the owners like later down the line, and she was just kind of like, she was messaging me about like a guarantee for something, I'm thinking, what have I done wrong here? Like, why are you messaging me? Like, guarantee, and I sent it to her. But then after she sent me like a nice message, like, I just want to say thank you again, like this house is just so nice. Like we proper love it. Like, so I think when you get that good feedback, like as landlords, as property developers, if you see in the news now, everything's about like how landlords are bad, how they're the money grabbers, they're dirty, you know what I mean? They're just stopping other people from being able to further themselves. But the reality is, like, we bought this property run down, it was unlivable, it didn't even have a roof, we had to re-render the entire outside, do kitchens, bathrooms, plumbing, central heating, spend like £100,000 plus. Most people that have that, whereas I think she was able to purchase it with like a 5% mortgage. That means £25,000 down day one.
Crazy.
You're actually like, creating homes for people that maybe couldn't have bought them in the first place. I think particularly for someone who's like, you get a lot of bad press and a lot of the negative like people sometimes, that was like a good mental note of actually, do you know what, regardless of what people think, like if you do it your way, you can still be doing a good thing.
So what are some of the things you've got planned for the future now?
Do you know what? Like I've kind of like, because we've spoken a lot about like the first property and then some of like the flat conversions, and I've kind of done a bit of everything. Like I've, like at a point in time, I built like £1 million like rent to rent business in terms of cash flow. That's the vanity. Don't know what the profit is off the top of my head, but I remember the vanity number. I've done residential conversions, commercial conversions, new builds, luxury homes, flips, auction purchases, like, trading. And I think like now I'm just trying to find a flow where I know what really works in this space. So I think I'm increasing the volume of what I do.
So what's next for you?
So do you know what, like outside of what we've spoken about, I've done so many different things over my almost 15-year journey in property, from new builds to residential conversions to rent, building like £1 million cash flowing rent to rent company, to luxury homes, to kind of everything in between. And I think now it's really like just trying to drill down on like specializing. So really focusing on the conversions, potentially looking at partnering with some people to do like larger sales schemes. But then I think at the moment, just really focusing on building out the community, helping other people kind of like reach their goals in the property space, whilst, and this is really important, still continuing being a developer, because I think you have to be in it currently because the market moves so much to be able to effectively still teach and assist in it.
If someone's watching this now and they want to get into this space, what is the 3 things that they should consider?
Number one, most importantly, understand who you are, because every business, every investment has an element of risk, and you need to understand if you're the type of person that wants risk and at what level and at what you're willing to burden, because your risk and reward ratio is really important. Number 2, I would say like work out where you are now. So what does your credit currently look like? What does your savings currently look like? What do you want to get out of property as well? Like, do you want cash flow? Do you want capital appreciation? Do you want your time back? You happy to give your time away? So work out actually what you want out of property. And then lastly is probably like more advice. But I'd say there's loads of courses out there. There's loads of mentors. There's loads of people going to tell you their way. But my kind of biggest takeaway is I would say that property is way more of an art than a science.
Right.
And what I mean by that is you can learn all of the steps, but every property, like you said, one might have dry rot, one might have an issue with the lease, one might have a structural issue, one might have some type of cladding, one might have like, you know, an easement over it, one might have a great freeholder, one might have a terrible freeholder. And every time you're going to have to navigate and pivot within the individual deal. So you're going to learn your like core, your skeleton of here's my bare bones. But then to really be good at it, you're going to have to be able to, in each instance, really learn how to navigate the individual deal.
And with all of that being said, how does Kazy manage his personal life and this property portfolio development, all this other stuff you're juggling?
I think there's a lot of crossover because like I enjoy what I do. So I enjoy what I do. I try and make sure that like I'm someone I can work myself into the ground. Like when I was working in my 20s, I was doing like 80 hours a week for like non-stop for like 2 years.
Wow.
And I think like learning to actually find things that you enjoy to give yourself that mental freedom. So at the moment, like I play a lot of paddle. If people follow me, they see I'm always playing paddle. I enjoy poker. That's something with the boys, again, you kind of have to just switch off. And just little things, like I spoke to you about, like I randomly go bowling on a Tuesday night and it's like my go-to thing of like, it's in my diary. But I would say that, like that has been the biggest game changer for me this year, is finding time like of stuff that I like to do and blocking it out, but also just having a diary that's very clear. So when people just ask me to do stuff, you say, oh, yo, can you do this podcast on Friday? I'll be like, let me check the diary. And I can give you a very quick answer, yes or no. I say I can't do it. And I know I can't, and I know why, and I know what I've got to do. So I use that diary not just for work commitments, but also life commitments. If I know that I've got to go and see someone, do something, spend time with someone, like all of these things I put in my diary so I can very clearly see where I am. And also what that means is you have a very good top level overview of how busy you actually are. So you can't trick yourself into thinking I've got loads of free time, or you can't trick yourself into thinking you're busy. It's there on paper, and then you can maneuver around that accordingly.
Cool. Do you have kids?
Do I have kids?
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
And how is it being a father?
Yeah, it's dope, man. She's just me. Like so she does mad stuff, but I can't be mad because I'm like, I would do that same thing. Like, so she's got bare energy, she's cheeky, like she's got big personality, like she's never sitting still. Yeah. But like, yeah, like I enjoy it. Like,
being a girl dad. Yeah. How is that for you?
Nice, dope. I think it fits my sentiment more, you know, like, because as much as she's like I said, like she's bouncing off the walls every day, she wants to show me a new dance or something. At the same time, she's also very kind and very sweet and very soft and very loving. So it's like, there's also that sometimes I can just like, come lie on my chest, just give me a hug, like, just give me a hug, like. But she's got me, like, she's got me around a little finger, like. After, you know what I mean, I'm that dad, she's like, oh, but daddy, like, you know, I just want a hug. I'll be like, oh, come on then, like, you know, I'm done, like, she's already won.
How important is it to be present in your daughter's life as a father?
Yeah, and I think obviously, you know, it sounds very cliche, but you don't know until you know. And I think, do you know what, when she's young, like was really young, like as like a, you know what I mean, pre-2, kind of like you don't really do much, like you're just there. But like as they get older and you can see them to start to develop, you can see like from 2+, like how they're aware of how your actions impact and shape how they are. So yeah, I try and, you know, be as involved as possible with, you know, with her. And yeah, man, she's dope, man. And also, she's also named Khadija, so, you know, my projects and stuff like that. And now I tell her, like, oh, like, you know, that's your house. So even sometimes I try and explain it to her. And I'm like, oh, Khadija, like, you know, like, she's like, oh, like, she's always like, oh, going to one of daddy's houses, da-da-da-da-da. Like, Khadija, like, do you like daddy's houses? She's like, yeah. I was like, oh, you know, one day, like, they're all going to be yours. She's like, mine? I'm going to throw them in the bin.
Hold on, how old is she? For context, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
How does your religion inform your fatherhood?
Yeah, like, it's like, you know, like, I always thought it's going to be so hard, like, to teach her, like, certain things. And like I do, like obviously like from a modesty perspective, I always like, I think like with girls it's really important regardless of religion.
Very
like,
important.
Because they don't know, like they're just innocent in this world. So I'm thinking like, you don't sit like that, like you're a lady, you don't like whatever. But like, yeah, she's very like, even for like, she's 4 and it's like, take her to the shop, and she went to the shop with her grandparents. They're like, oh yeah, get her a sweet, whatever. And she went to take the sweet to the shop, like counter, she said, excuse me, like, has this got pork in it? And then the shop owner read it, said, oh yeah, it has. So she's like, I can't eat that, and took it back and went to go get a different sweet. So she's a good girl. Like and like she'll even tell the other kids like, I can't eat that, like this whatever, like. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, man.
You're growing her well.
Well, listen, see, do you know what the thing is? Really, and it's like for our parents, to go back to our parents, sometimes we look at stuff that our parents and they were thinking, they was younger than I am now and they were doing all of this. Like we're all just adulting and trying to just do this life for the first time. So it's like whether I'm doing well or not, like it's my first time like being here, being present. So like I would say, even if you're not doing things as well as you'd want to, you're still here and you can go again. So even for the men that maybe haven't been as present in their kids' life as they would have wanted to, don't shy away from it to be like, oh, because I was bad last week, I've like, you know, it's too late. There's always time to kind of get it back and do as much as you can, because they're gonna thank you for it later.
The next section is guest to guest, where our previous guest asks our current guest a question.
My name's Double S. The next question would be, if you had a chance to start again, what would you do differently?
If I was to start again, I think one common misconception among business owners is you've got to have like 7 streams of income, you've got to do everything at once. I would personally say focus on doing one thing really well. Like you see me speak about the 1 to 2 beds. If I said, let me just max them out and did hundreds of them in a short space of time, I would have got so good at it that over time I would have built other businesses just off the back of being really good at one thing.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
I'm not going to speak on your finances, yeah?
Yeah.
And I understand like wanting to play it safe.
Yeah.
But bearing in mind, you know you have goals that you want to achieve with the money that you have.
Yeah.
How do you continue to sleep at night knowing that you're allowing that money to be eroded on a daily basis because of fear?
I think for me, I had to sit with it for a minute. And I know sitting with it, you know, it's doing that. But I'm now in a space to move forward with it. But I had to sit with it for a minute. I had to sit because...
On the money or?
Yeah, I had to sit with it.
You took it all out the bank.
Honestly, like...
Yeah.
I've had money before, but nothing like what I have. And seeing that there...
Gives you peace of mind.
It does. Because the way how I was raised, I don't want to say I was broke. I wasn't poor, but I weren't rich.
Yeah.
Like I weren't a six-figure-naire. Yeah.
But your 6-figure-naire is cold, isn't it? A 6-figure-naire.
Yeah. When I realised I was a 6-figure-naire, it was such a peace of mind because I realised I had options that I maybe didn't have before. Like, if I decided I want to not work for 2 years, I can just not work for 2 years.
But you know my thing, and this is what I say to people, when it comes to investing, like, you see, one of the best things about property is, don't get me wrong, like, it's scary and there's things, but you see, even if you buy something, and obviously with the right support in place, but even if you really mess it up, the property has a value. Even sometimes people can half knock down their house and they can still, so I would just say, like, obviously move with care, move with caution, and move with the correct advice. But it's like, if you think about how that money was made in the first place and how long it took to make that money, for every year that you don't do something, you're delaying what you can do going forward. And when 100%. We talk about like this generational wealth, it's why people generally always talk about property. When, unfortunately, like a lot of the time when, you know, someone of colour passes away, we might be looking for, is there a GoFundMe? When you're looking at, like, you know, when like somebody like, you know, English person's grandparents' dad, like, people asking, what did you get? And I think like moving that dynamic of being like, let's make sure that we keep these assets. And the thing with money is it's so easy to erode. Whereas if you have like assets, like property that can be passed forward, it just helps shift that wealth curve.
Yeah, because you can lose it as well.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But no, it's such an important question to ask. And I think I shared some of the stuff with you. Like, I lost a lot. Like, in terms of property, I literally went back to having nothing because I invested in something that was family based, and I'll leave it there. But I lost everything. So once I got more stuff back, I think I was really fearful.
That's
very, very fearful. But I'm definitely in a better space.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Even you being here, you can tell I'm in a better space. Because I knew you were going to try and ask me some of those questions.
Listen,
but
this is honestly
speaking,
listen, I need to know what's going on, honestly.
But yeah, much better space, and got things like trust set up now, and like I didn't have a lot of foundational things in place, so I didn't want to play around. But now I've got.
You got, and you feel like more
I feel more
that's good.
like it doesn't feel uncertain. Like I understand things now, you know. But thank you for coming today. I really appreciate you being here. And guys, if you haven't followed Kazy yet, please, where can they find you?
So Instagram, YouTube are our main ones. Property by Kazy, Kazeem Ali Balogan on LinkedIn. If you want to find out about the PBK community, it's pbkcommunity.co.uk. But yeah, like whether you want to join, whether you just want free information, it's all out there. There's like literally hundreds of hours on YouTube. There's podcasts, there's development tours, there's day in the life, so you can get a better idea of what it looks like to be a property investor, a property developer, and find out if it's the right fit for you.
I mean, this is why he does all the things he does. He just does it so seamlessly. But thank you for coming today. I've been your host, Honestly Trina, and this has been Honestly Speaking. Thank you.